Hello and welcome to Porchlight Studios. The door idea was not my idea, I stole it from Tully, but I went with it and now I'm living with it. Either way, welcome to Porchlight Studios. This room is the first room you're going to see when you come in here, and it is primarily a writing room. The idea behind it is that you will work with Tully, you will work your songwriting, you will work your performance. More than likely you're going to be a singer. Or I suppose you could be a songwriter, and then Tully will either sing for you or find you a singer. The idea behind this room is that it's mostly creative. We'll go to the next room. I feel like it's Crystal Maze. Remember Crystal Maze? You're all probably too young to remember Crystal Maze. This piano was my grandmother's piano. I learned how to play piano on this and then went to drums. This is the main mixing room. You will come in here if you're in a band. You'll come in here if you're a bit more serious about what you're doing. You'll come in here if you have developed yourself a little bit more probably. And then you get to use all this lovely gear. It is still an Antelope family. We're running the Goliath in here. I'm a big fan of the Goliath. It does everything. Obviously, I'm a drummer, so I need lots and lots of inputs. It's in the name, Goliath. There are, if you include the Maddie, over 100 inputs that can go into this at one time, which is just pretty tasty. And I suppose the next room that we'd look at maybe would be the live room. This is a long walk. You're gonna have to do this if you're going between the mixing room and the live room. Many bands that have recorded here over the years will know this long walk and know the ability to have a long think about what it is that you've just done. And as they say, once I can figure out how to work a key, this is where the magic happens. Oh yeah. So this would be the live room. Big double doors for sound isolation. So you close your outside door, you close your inside door, you got a room inside a room, you got a floating floor to stop sound from outside getting in, and more importantly, because of the drums, stop the sound inside getting out. I love the pitch ceiling, I love the windows outside, or to the outside world, and I also love the air conditioning unit when it gets too hot or you've been practicing for too long. There are multiple screens, multiple control devices, because everything that's down here, I need to be able to control what's happening up in the mixing room. There's obviously all the microphones through the multi-core on the wall, and that's the copper we're talking about through the PVC piping. Then all the network will handle all the other stuff, like the cameras that'll send visual down and visual back up if I need it. For me, I'm extending the USBs and then extending the computer system visual down here, like doing a screen mirror from the main screen. And that way I can just run Pro Tools, I can run the Goliath software, I can run all the plugins and do everything that isn't on the analog chain. If it's analog, I'm gonna have to run up the other end. Obviously I can't be in two places at once, so at that point I need a friend to help me.
Hi, I'm Tully. I've been here in Porchlight Studios for the last 3 years. I work with an array of different styles, from pop, commercial, EDM, indie, folk, singer-songwriter, rock bands. I am open to any kind of genre that keeps my creative juices flowing. So essentially I would kind of describe myself as a creative producer. Because I'm a songwriter and a multi-instrumentalist, I really like arranging as well. I can sing a bit. I like to kind of get involved with the artist in terms of the sound, the songwriting, structure, arrangement. And then of course I can record and mix. I wouldn't call myself an expert audio engineer, but more a creative producer. So I have a Discrete 8. It is the centerpiece of this particular room, which is, I would like to call it the songwriting room, project studio, where it's more of a creative room. You'll see the studio has a mixing room and a live room, but this room is mostly for being creative, for me to, you know, plug a mic in, record a vocal, plug a guitar in, get some ideas down, and it's very, very easygoing. And the Discrete 8 is the centerpiece of my workflow. It helps me record audio. It helps me record with Antelope plugins. If I need to use a compressor or a certain style of a preamp to get a flavor of, you know, a tone for a vocal. And then of course, it connects to my speakers. It has amazing preamps, a real like clean conversion, which I really, really like. So many great capabilities. The digital patch baying, you can basically send any inputs and outputs anywhere to whatever device within the system. You can reamp, and also, of course, you can use outboard analog gear to essentially add flavor to productions. So I use the Discrete 8 when I'm recording vocals with artists and using the monitoring system, which is low latency, almost zero latency, whereby I can use effects, I can use reverbs, I can print them. I can also just use them as monitoring for the artist, just to give them an idea of what it could sound like. And then on the other side, when I'm mixing, I can use the plugins, which are unbelievable. I am really impressed with the analog emulations of, for instance, the Opto LA2A compressors, which is great on vocals. They've got some great preamps that you can use. So yeah, it's great for mixing as well as tracking. So I'm a classically trained cello and piano player. I started playing music when I was 6, and then when I was in about 18, 19, I started a band called The Chapters. Was with them for 10 years, got record deals, supported the likes of Neil Young, Chuck Berry, some really amazing artists. And then I decided to move on and become James Vincent McMorrow's keyboard player. And there I would have toured extensively around Europe and America and Canada. I've done Jules Holland, Glastonbury, so that was a great experience. And then I turned my attention to writing songs and producing, honing my craft. So I would have written songs and co-written with the likes of the Coronas, Mari Dahlstrom. Worked with some great producers such as Fabian Lenson, John Nathaniel, and I've had publishing deals as well. I've also written for ads, and that's another strand to my kind of thing in terms of workflow and creativity, keeping my brain kind of active, not just working with artists or bands, but also writing for TV and film, which is really great, and I love doing it. And I've written for the likes of Sony PlayStation, Pepsi, Barry's Tea, Glenveagh Homes, and yeah, so I continue to do that, and I've a nice roster of really talented up-and-coming artists here in Ireland, and I'm open to working with more. So here we are in Logic and also Antelope's amazing control panel. It's got so many features that many other audio interfaces that use this style of recording. It's fantastic. We got our routing, which can be a little bit intimidating, but it is really intuitive once you get the hang of it. You can essentially send any input to any output and any effects. So you can see that I've highlighted the RE320 up here, and we have the SM7B, but you'll see here, this is the microphone that I kind of use just beside me here if I need to talk to somebody, or even if I need to record some backing vocals. So you can see that when I click on that RE320 input on the preamp, everything else is highlighted to where its destination is. So you can see that I've kind of sent it out to be recorded, just a clean signal, and then also I'm using it in the AFX, which is essentially one of the reasons why I love this setup and this workflow with Antelope, because being able to use the effects as you record is essentially the hybrid of or like an analog ethos of recording with a really good preamp or a modeled preamp. You can see here on the SM7B input that I have on the channel strip on the AFX. I've got my BA31, which is a really lovely preamp. I've got an option to use other preamps here that come with the software. We've got this ALT436C compressor, and you can put anything in, of course. A lot of people would think about using a lot of the FET A76, which is based on the 1176, it's an emulation of that. Fantastic on vocals. We've got the Opto 2A as well. you know, and we've got, you know, access to these, and we can record with these effects. But at the same time, we can record, while we can record with these effects, we can also record the clean signal as well, which is something that a lot of other companies don't offer in terms of when you're tracking audio. So there's just a lot of flexibility, but you know, essentially we have to also mention the clocking. We have to mention the conversion as well from analog to digital, and then digital to analog out as well with the Antelope Synergy Core. It is really just, it's great for my workflow. It really works. So that kind of setup in the control panel, you can see there, you can hear, you can see a bit of a volume coming in. I'm just going to turn that off. So that's this. We're going to have a look at a track that I co-wrote and produced here in Porchlight Studios called Fuego by a duo called Papaya X, and we tracked using the Discrete. And you can see there's a lot of really fantastic vocals, and I also, not only did I use the plugins on the way in, but I also mixed with them. So you can see here that again I've used a bit of a preamp. I've also used the Opto, the LA2A as well, which is, you know, one of my favorite go-to compressors for vocals. So I'll just give you a bit of a kind of a listen of the vocal on its own in the verse, with and without these plugins. So you can hear without.
Oh, there's been times that I'm seeing you watching me, taking note, I'm just free, can't you see that?
So you can hear, obviously it's adding a good bit of volume, but not only that, it's adding character and color. And with these emulations, you know, it's just adding so much to my productions and my mixes. The chorus, you can see there's a lot of drums. Well, it's actually not that many drums, but you can see that there's a big feature in this style of music is, you know, the kick drum. I'll play the full track from the start here, just for a little bit of it. So you got some Argentinian tango piano.
Oh, there's been times that I'm seeing you watching me, taking note, I'm just free, can't you see? Analyzing whoever I meet. Hold on, hombre, I'm an idiot, take control and love me deeper. I'm no stranger to this fever, you can see it, I don't need it. All them boys call me bonita, este loco mejito. Adios, hombre, este bendecito. Fuego, will you be my fuego? Te quiero, papacito.
So that's just a little snippet of it. You can see that there's a big feature is the bass synth, and I have used some of the Antelope plugins. You'll see on the bass bus, and this is something that I love using. It's an emulation. It's a VEQ 1A, that's what it's called, by Antelope. And I just love putting any low-end instruments through this. You can put kick through this, but you can hear what it does to the bass when I turn it on, turn it off. And we're on. Just adds just a bit of weight. Without. And it adds to it. And I love that plugin is particularly one of my favorites for bass. And then what else? On the stereo bus, we have a fantastic emulation of a bus compressor. I'll play a bit of the track with and without.
Just call me mama and I'll be there. Beso, beso, muchos besos. Take me higher, te amo,
with.
manilla. Hola, hombre, I'm an idiot, take control and love me deeper. I'm no stranger to the fever.
Without.
You can see it, I don't need it. All them boys call me bonita, este loco.
It just essentially glues it the whole mix together. Just a little bit, it adds some harmonics as well, and a fantastic emulation of a classic plug-in or a classic outboard compressor. And I think that's really it. I think that kind of demonstrates a lot of stuff.